The author of the Satanic Verses is alive and well and living in New York City now. No more bodyguards, no more Iranian.
30 years. His novel, The Satanic Verses, inspired Iran's spiritual leader, Ruhollah Khomeini, to issue a fatwa, a death warrant. He declared the book blasphemous.
That's all I ever wanted.
Of course, Rushdie is not a Muslim, he's not a believer, but he's certainly someone of Muslim heritage. And I think the way in which he used his or drew from his Muslim heritage was extremely problematic. A critique of Islam, of course, is welcome. It's something that is required. But the tenor, the tonality, the manner in which it was done was extremely hurtful for many people in the Muslim world. Rushdie affair became an international political event, in fact a diplomatic event, when the fatwa was pronounced by the Ayatollah Khomeini in February 1989. The way that the media portrayed this event was in terms of an enlightened West battling for the principle of free speech and, of course, a benighted Islam. And this was problematic because it was based on a set of dichotomies that really did not look at the nuances of the whole issue. The inconsistency of the West, of course, I don't want to go into that because there are certain books that have been banned in the West. This was not the first book to be banned. I mean, it was portrayed in the Western media as if this was the only book that had been banned. So the dichotomy that was created was something that needs to be overcome. You know, in addition to the dichotomy between Islam and the West that I talked about, an enlightened West and a benighted Islam, I think it also mapped onto another duality or a dichotomy, which was the principle of free speech versus the fatwa. Because what this did was to create the suggestion that the principle of free speech is only upheld in the West, and that the fatwa was in some way antithetical to the principle of free speech itself. As I said earlier, most people who comment on the Rushdie affair or who take an interest in the Rushdie affair don't seem to understand what a fatwa is. Now, in classical Islamic jurisprudence, the fatwa means a legal opinion. It does not mean a diktat, which means that if one looks at the plurality of fatwas, which are non-binding, this actually could itself become an instrumentality in the advancement of free speech. Now, this would be an almost ironical way of looking at the fatwa. So my point is that the unfortunate outcome was that it presented the West as the only defender of free speech. And it presented Islam and the fatwa as something which was completely antithetical to the very principle of free speech. Sometimes when I think about the Rushdie affair, I feel that it actually contributed to an advancement or enhancement or aggravation of Islamophobia.